Well, good early evening to you, Browns fans. This is the Fanatical Elfz Postgame Show. It is about a little bit past 6:30 Eastern Time, as we come to you live here on YouTube and on Facebook. You can follow us at the Elves Network on those locations. Also on TikTok at Elves Network, on the X at Elves Network. Follow along. We've got a plethora of great guys and gals that help do the shows throughout the week. We have lots of shows to uh, that you can all make uh, your call on which show you want to watch. We'd love for you to watch or listen to all of our shows. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. So if you're watching us live on YouTube or Facebook, you'll see the underneath the title up down below my face here. It's Browns lose to the Titans. Yep, 31-29 as the late comeback falls short. Yes, the Browns lost to the worst team in the NFL at home on a cold, wintry day. So many things to dissect. I will just start by saying this, and I know some people. This is a shout out to my cousin who was at the game in person. I know some of our colleagues like Lou Marconi were in person there, and I know that you were posting pictures of the love for watching the game in the true conditions, wintry conditions here in Ohio, and not looking forward to a dome stadium being built. But folks, as I get older, despite loving to see the Browns play in those conditions, they lost. I would rather see them lose in a nice warmth of an indoor dome stadium, which is going to be built in 2029. We all have that to look forward to. So all of you old timers who are watching these Browns games, in the cold and the wintry, sorry that we're going to disappoint you and go inside. But after a game like this, so many things to talk about about this game, about this situation. We've all had about an hour and a half, 2 hours to come off of our heart attack city. I was getting ready to go. We had a neighborhood gathering here, celebrating early Christmas, and was going to go over to that toward the end of the Browns game. And the Browns kind of mounted a pretty big comeback, and weren't sure if they were going to be able to do that with Shedeur Sanders starting in his third game as a rookie quarterback. Some of us in our Fanatical Elfz network have talked about this game on the side, on texting and whatnot, and some of us are more enamored with Shedeur Sanders than others. I've always been in the support of Shedeur, and despite him making a few mistakes, he was outstanding. And for a kid that's coming into his third start in the NFL, I thought he did some amazing things, especially late in that game, that gave the Browns a spark. Really gave them a spark. You're down 2 touchdowns, 31-17 late in that game, and Shedeur was able to mount a comeback with the help of players like Harold Fannin, another outstanding rookie who had a hell of a game. I think he had 7 or 8 catches for like 120 yards, I think. I'll go back and look at the stats here with you guys here momentarily, but it was really a great effort. This Browns team is floundering in many ways. I was truly disappointed in the Browns defense. Now, granted that the Browns defense in the second half, or the Browns offense in the second half, for 6 drives was, at one point they were talking about in the late in the third or fourth quarter, the guys on TV, about how they were in there. They had 6 drives and like 4 punts and 2 turnovers. I mean, the Browns offense did enough things that really were mistakes. The interception that Shedeur threw, was that in the first half, or no, second half, really hurt, obviously. Dylan Sampson's fumble really hurt this team. And it put the Browns defense in an awkward position where they had to guard a little bit of the field, not the whole field. But those plays and those things happening still can't overlook the fact that this Browns defense was really getting shredded offensively. Or the Tennessee running game was explosive. They almost had 200 yards rushing against this number 2 defense in the NFL. we were getting thrashed this way and that way. Pollard looked like he was reborn again, had 160 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, just ran right through the Browns defense. And for all the things that we talk about with this Browns defense, they talked about it endlessly during the TV broadcast, that the Titans were extremely smart in going after Myles Garrett, going toward him on that side of the line for the rush. Clearing Myles would clear up, go 4 or 5 yards up the in the backside of the or in the backfield of Tennessee, and they would run right through that huge gap. It was really truly a masterful class in how to run against someone like Myles Garrett and that Browns defense. They did an outstanding job and really earned that part of the game. It's disappointing too. You think about it, just how the Browns got down early, and the Browns defense didn't help themselves. Now, to begin the game, again, the Browns special teams was horrendous. Then the initial play of the first of the game, they gave up a huge run back, which put Tennessee on the Browns side of the field and gave them a short field, and the Browns defense did what they could, but could not prevent them from scoring a touchdown. They scored again, and the Browns came back, did some really good things in the first half. Shedeur Sanders threaded the needle and hit Jerry Jeudy on a beautiful cut and go. Had before that touchdown was another wonderful throw to David Njoku that was precisely put right there. The accuracy of that pass from Shedeur was outstanding. So kudos to Shedeur. Now, he tailed off in the second half for most of it, and I know several of my colleagues from the Fanatical Elfz were again mentioning that he's in some other people's opinions was regressing, but Shedeur did some really amazing things later on in that game. Now, before we get to that latter part of the game, again, the Browns special teams late in that game down 28-17 when it didn't look very good anyway for the Browns. They gave up a blocked punt, which again put Tennessee in a very favorable position. Fortunately, the Browns defense did hold and only gave up a field goal, which managed to make the game 31-17 and gave Cleveland a glimmer of hope with 6 or 7 minutes to go in that game. And what Shedeur did after that was phenomenal. What Harold Fannin did throughout this game is phenomenal. Just some really good things. The Browns defense, going back there before we get really into talking about Shedeur and some of the play calling by Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees. We'll get into that here momentarily. The Browns defense, Myles Garrett, give Myles kudos. He got his 20th sack today, 1 sack. Good job to Myles. But again, the Browns defense could not hold this horrendous Tennessee Titans team in check. The Tennessee Titans came into this game one win and 11 losses. And the one win that they had was a fluke, beating the Cardinals earlier in the season, or this team would be 0-12 and we would have lost to an 0-12 team today. The Browns are 3-10. We'll get into all of this and what this means for the team. And we'll have a lot more reaction as the week unfolds, because there will be a lot of people talking about a lot of things that happened in this game. Shedeur did some amazing things in that second half. I want to kind of review some of the statistics from him and the team. Let's pause here for a quick commercial break. This is the Fanatical Elfz Postgame Show. We'll be right back. Hey, we are back here on the Fanatical Elfz Postgame Show. I'm John Suchan, part of the network, and we'll have a lot of shows coming up tomorrow. Dog Pound South show with Steve Gill will be Monday morning. He'll have his review. I know Steve is not a huge fan of Shedeur Sanders, but he is wanting to give him an opportunity. We'll have to hear what Steve has to say about that tomorrow night. Lou Marconi, who was at the game today, he will share his insights on what he saw from the stadium. Tomorrow night will be on Stirring the Pot with him and I. Following that, later in the week, Rod Bloom with his Browns Blitz. There's a Gleam with Steve Hemrich and Ethan Greenberg with That's Going Nuclear will be coming on with their reactions as well. I believe Sam the Man down there in Dallas, Texas will be bringing his Browns breakdowns too. So tune into all those shows. Follow us on Apple. Follow us on Spotify. All right, so I was looking at the stats just to, it's interesting because I was listening to Rod Bloom, who does the Browns Blitz, and he was talking to our colleague Steve Hemrich the other day, and they were talking about statistically when you look at these games that the Browns are losing all season, really. I mean, you look at this game right now, and I was just going to bring this up again. We'll look at the team stats and the individual stats here, but just from the team stat point of view, I mean, you would look at these stats and you would think, my God, the Browns had to have won that game. But they didn't. And now the Browns are 3-10. They have statistically been doing some really good things, but stats don't win games. And the Browns are an excellent example of that this season. It's pretty crazy. In this game, both teams equally ran 64 plays. The Titans ran 64 plays. The Browns ran 64 plays. This game lasted forever. It didn't get over till like 4:30 or 4:40. It was a crazy long game. The Browns had 412 total yards of offense, while the Titans had 292. The Titans had 11 penalties. We only had 7. We had 2 turnovers. They had 1. Each team was equal in their third down efficiency, and neither team attempted anything on fourth down. Interesting game in that aspect. In the end, Shador had 3 touchdown passes, but we got eaten up alive in the run game. They ran over us left and right, up the gut, 184 yards rushing for the Titans against that superior Browns defense. They got shredded. The Browns had 22 first downs. The Titans only had 13. So you look at the box score here. Here's an interesting couple of just things here. Shout out again. We're going to talk more specifically about Shador here in just a second. But Shador ended up 23 for 42 for 364 yards and 8.7 yards after catch. He had 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception, which was big because the Titans scored a touchdown off of that. Sanders also ran the ball 3 times for 29 yards, including a touchdown. Quinshon Judkins was pretty locked up. He only had 14 carries for 26 yards. He had a beautiful catch and run of a screen pass again from Shador Sanders early in the game that he almost took to the house. Harold Fannin was outstanding in this game. He had 8 catches for 114 yards, just in a touchdown. And that late touchdown throw that got the Browns within 2 points was just tremendous. Jerry Jeudy came alive, had a nice touchdown catch from a beautiful bullet throw from Shador for 60 yards that he took to the house. He ended up going 3 catches for 76 yards. Dylan Sampson was heavily involved in this game, and he unfortunately had a huge fumble that, again, the Titans were able to convert into points that really hurt this team. But despite that, Dylan Sampson had 5 catches for 64 yards. So not bad. All right. So Shador, there was a lot of this and that. People were talking about it off, I was reading La La Land on the X. I'm going to open up my Diet Coke because I'm running out of. Shout out to Diet Coke. If Coca-Cola, if you ever want to sponsor the Fanatical Elfz Network, tune in to us, and then we'll continue to drink our Diet Coke. Okay. The Browns, it was one of those games where Shador did a lot of good things, but there were moments where he was seemed like he was reverting to some different things and couldn't see things that were in front of him, and we're making some pretty interesting decisions, not the best ones. But those last 2 drives, folks. I mean, again, you're down 31-17, 5 or 6 minutes left in that game. The stadium was half empty. I mean, it was hardly anybody in the stadium. By the way, the stadium looked half empty the entire game. I know some people will talk about, well, Shador's not everyone's talking about Shador, but he's not bringing people into the stadium. I mean, you could go to the game for like $5 again. I mean, it is kind of embarrassing. I think the organization, I don't know what the organization thinks about that, but it's not a good draw. And that alone should be concern for the Haslams. You're not winning fans, especially when we start talking about Kevin Stefanski. Um, but Shador did some amazing things down the stretch. He drove them down the field, and then he scored on a crazy scramble where he didn't run all the way back. You know, folks, he was only sacked twice in this game. Twice. Okay, so for all of you folks that want to say that he's losing steps or he doesn't look like he's a pro quarterback, just stop talking. You are negative Nelly, and we don't need to hear from you anymore. Give this kid an opportunity. This kid is improving. He just threw for 364 yards and contributed 3 touchdown passes and ran one in on that first drive. He ran it in after scrambling. Outstanding. Outstanding. Now, here's where it gets really stupid by the coaching staff and Kevin Stefanski. And after the game, Kevin Stefanski, who seems like he's getting more frustrated, and he should be because his team sucks because he's making boneheaded decisions. Now, Tommy Rees, yes, is calling the plays, but even after the game, Stefanski took accountability, which I'll give the guy credit for taking accountability as the head coach. Things fall on him, but he always likes to say, I got to be better. This team's got to be better. Everybody's always got to be better. We're sick and tired of hearing Kevin Stefanski say this. You would think that after 6 seasons and after making so many other boneheaded mistakes over his career in Cleveland, that he could figure things out, but he can't. He's like a broken record. Keeps repeating himself. And so now they score this wonderful touchdown. You're down 31-23. 31-23. You're 8 points down. I'm assuming that you're going to go out there and just kick the field goal. You got 4 or 5 minutes left in the game after you got that quick touchdown. Good stuff. You got all your timeouts, or most of them. Yeah, they had all of them. At that point, just kick the extra point, because then you're down a touchdown. What the hell are you doing, Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Rees, and the offense? What the hell are you thinking? Shador just ran the ball in. You have all the momentum in the world, and you are saying to yourself, I'm going to do the 2-point conversion here. Now, I know what they're thinking. We all know what they're thinking. They're thinking they're smarter than all of us fans. And I know some of you out there, you don't want to give credit to us Browns fans, but we know football. And a lot of us, for example, who are Browns fans, actually do coach football, like myself. I understand I'm not going to say logic. I understand the thinking here. You're at home. You are riding some momentum. So this is where it gets so weird to me, because you're got the momentum, but you're now, if you don't, you're putting all the pressure on this young kid and this team. If you're going for 2 points here, then that means if you fail, which they did, you have to score another touchdown, and you then have to get the 2 points. Why the hell do that? Use your noggin. Start thinking a little differently, Kevin Stefanski, because it was boneheaded. Because the minute that you failed that, you forced this Browns team and Shador to have to then score again, which they did, but then you're forcing them to score the 2 points. And on that last 2 points, you don't even have Shador out there on the field. When they did that first 2-point conversion, I was flabbergasted. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And I'm sure you as a fan were going, what the hell are they doing? You're down 2 touchdowns. You just scored 6 points. Kick the extra point. You're down 7. Oh, this is football. That's what happens. You score a touchdown, you get an extra point. But not the Browns, not Kevin Stefanski. He's always trying to think that he's smarter than the other guy. And guess what, Kevin? You're not. Your team sucks. And I would say there are 2 or 3 games this season that all of us can say lies on you. And you say that to all of us back. You say, it's on me. Yeah, it is, Kevin. And the hard part, the difficult part from us fans who are watching this crap, every weekend is that we don't understand what the hell our ownership, the Haslams, are doing. What are you doing, Jimmy? What are you seeing that we're not seeing? Why are you giving this coaching staff a pass again? Now we know why, because you've talked about it. You've basically said we swung and missed with Deshaun Watson, so everyone assumes that basically you're giving these guys a free pass, and it is mind blowing. It is driving fans bonkers, and the fan base, you are losing. The fans are leaving. They are not filling the stadium, and a lot of you out there who say, "Well, the hell with the fans." We're what the Browns need. You got to have the fans to fill that damn stadium and the future Dome Stadium. It's absolutely ridiculous. Is he going to get a free pass? Well, folks, if you're a betting man, if you're a betting person, you know he's going to get it, even though all of you want to fire Stefanski. Listen, I heard myself say that too. Fire them all. But we know it's not going to. If it changes, and for some reason Kevin Stefanski is fired tomorrow, I mean, I think half the Browns, more than half of us, 75% of us would be shocked, and 50% of us would be pleasantly shocked. It is just bizarre. You put so much, you're riding this wave. You're the opportunities that they put in front of them. There was a play earlier in the game where the Browns had the ball right around midfield and they had a 4th and 2. Do you remember that play? And they were kind of riding some momentum. The Browns were kind of, I think they got in the lead at that point. And Stefanski, who's always going for it, and then does these stupid things like he did at the end of the game, he chose not to go for it. He took the penalty, took us back 5 yards to hold on to a useless timeout that I think it was in the first half that you're not even going to use, to not even try that. So that, again, like, he's all over the place. He doesn't show any type of consistency when it comes to coaching. And that's what's driving all of us Browns fans batty. So then you get to the end of this game, right? You get to the end of the game. It was just a great momentum here. The Browns get the ball back. The defense stops them. Shador takes them back down the field, and Shador makes this amazing pass to Harold Fannin in the corner of the end zone. That Harold Fannin, what a huge moment in his early career as a rookie coming out of Bowling Green. Catching this ball remind you of a catch like somebody like David Njoku made, who also made one earlier in the game for a touchdown. You see all of this, boom, he gets it. So now they get the touchdown, but they're still down 2 points, and there's a little over a minute. So they have to now convert on the 2-point conversion. They have to do it now. Why? Because Kevin Stefanski was boneheaded several minutes before saying, no, we got to do it now. So they do the 2-point conversion, and what happens? Well, it looked like Quinshon Judkins got the handoff. It was a direct snap to Quinshon Judkins. Where was Shador Sanders? He was on the sideline. Now, we've talked about this Wildcat and all this stuff. There's been a lot of people, a lot of national folks talking about this play, about the Wildcat over the last few weeks, and why wasn't Shador in there? And the Browns ran the Wildcat a couple times in this game previously. So in this case, again, it didn't shock me that, Shador was on the sideline for the Wildcat. But for God's sakes, man, you all know this, right, Browns fans? I mean, Shador just ran one in moments before. He had 3 other touchdown passes. He had the hot hand. Keep him in the game for anything. He can create opportunities. But Quinshon Judkins, and he made a mistake. It looked like he did not hand the ball off to the other wide receiver who was cutting on the backside, and the play got blown up, and the Browns had nothing really more to do. They were down 31-29. I think I missed the onside kick. I don't know if there was one or not. I'm assuming there was. We didn't get the recovery. and then the Browns couldn't stop the clock. So, um, and so thank you for watching us here on YouTube and Facebook. I know I see some people commenting here. Thank you. If you're not firing Kevin, you are not going to get fans. And that's really, thank you for the comment. That's really the case. It really is. I mean, there are some of you who are very supportive of Kevin Stefanski, and some of you who are very supportive of this idea of keeping things the way that they are. You know, why? Who are you going to get? That's, I know Lou Marconi and I talk about this question. Lou will say, well, who are you going to get to replace Kevin Stefanski? And I thought about that question, Lou, a lot over the last several weeks. And again, it's like there's so many other people out there. And I know, I don't have a name for you, and the Browns fans don't have a name for you, or maybe they do have some names that could replace Kevin Stefanski. But we all know this isn't going well. And the Browns fans are just fed up and done. And if the organization cannot read the Browns fans' feelings on this, they can't see it. They can't see the writing on the wall. I just don't know. Because you are right. You are losing fans. That stadium is going to not even be a third full, even when the Browns play the Bills in 2 weeks. Now, I will tell you, automatically, the Bills fans will travel. That stadium will be so filled up with Bills fans, and the following week, the Browns play the Steelers. I hope, Jimmy, you're going to be excited about seeing all these opposing fans in our seats, spending $5 on a seat because we can't sell our seats anymore because they're so damn cheap. You're selling seats for $5, folks. There was somebody in the front row that he said that he spent $19 on the ticket. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm spending $100 a ticket at least in the upper deck per ticket. And those people that are sitting in the 300 section or down in the 100s, they're paying three times as much as me. It's a shame what the organization is doing. And now you've got an opportunity with this kid in front of you, Shedeur Sanders, who has a following, and despite all some of you who loathe Shedeur's passionate fan base that are maybe more his fans than they are Cleveland Browns fans, he's a legit, folks. And if you haven't figured it out after 3 weeks, I don't know what you're seeing in your eyes, with your eyes. And if the organization can't figure that out, I mean, you've already divided this fan base completely when you traded for Deshaun Watson. Now, any fans that are left, and you've talked to many fans, I'm sure, there aren't as many fans as there have been. You lost 20% of your fan base when you decided to trade for Deshaun Watson. And the fans that remain are getting more frustrated by the day. Things have got to change. Listen, if the Browns could have turned it around and won a game or two here, folks, they're 3 wins and 10 losses. And when are they going to get that next win? I don't see them winning another game the rest of the season. You see them winning another game this season? Hell no. Maybe they get 4 wins. They end up 4-13. Maybe. Maybe they are just stuck at 3-14 again. 2 back-to-back 3-14 seasons for this Browns team. That you can't have that. And this organization needs to go forward. There's a lot to unravel here. There will be a lot of talk this week about what was happening out there today. There will be a lot of discussion about the 2-point conversion at the end and Shedeur not being on the field. But I, and you maybe too, I want to know more about the first attempt. What the hell was Stefanski and Tommy Rees thinking in that first scenario when they had the first touchdown and they could have just kicked the extra point? You kick the extra point, you don't put any pressure on Shedeur and the Browns offense to have to score 2 points. It's pointless. So the Browns come up short, 31-29. We appreciate you tuning in here to the Fanatical Elfz Network. We appreciate all of you on YouTube or on Facebook here watching us live. It's hard. I'm wearing this Browns gear, and I lived in Kansas all those years. Supporter of the Browns backers out there, the Oz chapter. Shout out to you guys in Wichita, Kansas. grew up back here in Ohio, came back to the area 9 years ago. Want to support our Brownies as much as we can. I love having season tickets. I love being part of the Browns, nation. But moments like this, they're just frustrating as hell. We'll get through it. We'll have a better mindset. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Shador can do over the next 4 weeks. Uh, Obviously, Dylan Gabriel, and I hope to God, I don't know what Stefanski said about Shador starting today or next week, but I'm assuming that Shador is going to at least get the next 4 games of the season, and we'll go from there. But it was ups and downs as a Browns fan. I appreciate everybody tuning in here. Stay tuned for a lot more programming later this week on the Fanatical Elfz Network. And if you haven't, please download our shows on Apple and on Spotify or on iHeartRadio or TuneIn, anywhere you listen to your podcast. We are there. We really need your support to keep this thing going. We love broadcasting and bringing you content that covers the Brownies. We're diehard Browns fans, just like you, and we'll continue to do this. We just know that it takes a village to keep going, and that's what we're doing. Also, follow us on TikTok. I know some of you don't have maybe a TikTok account, but go over there to TikTok and start following us on TikTok. Some of our videos, we shorten them up and give little clips of what we've just been talking about. So tune into that as well. Everybody, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Don't think about the Browns anymore. Have a great Monday despite the loss, and we'll look forward to seeing what the Browns and Shador Sanders can do next week against the Chicago Bears. All right, everybody, go Browns. See ya.